share you the PowerPoint. Is this readable to you? This PDF?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any one of you, just let me know. PDF. Okay, thank you. So today we would like to discuss the remaining part, that is spherical shell and solid sphere. Okay, fine. Yeah. So I'll just check the recording. Is it fine? It's turned on. Attendance. Okay. So we have covered mostly all the bodies, symmetrical bodies, including flywheel and derivation. We just want to complete the remaining one. I think so, spherical shell, solid sphere, and thick spherical shell. So I will check this one by one. Hope you will get it. So the method is over to find the moment of inertia of a spherical shell. So first of all, I want to just give you how to derive the formula for the moment of inertia of the this particular thin spherical shell. So what do you mean by the thin spherical shell? So it's like an egg you have, okay, and the material which is a coated, the coating, the outside, okay, is of shell inside. I mean to say, we have a very thin layer of your uh, shell on the spherical part. Okay, so inside you have a spherical geometry, but there is a small thin shell on it. Okay, so this is the like you have a, you can compare with the eggs. That's a symmetry having the spherical shell kind of a symmetry, not oblate, but just look like, so if you have a football ball, okay, and it's a very thin shell on that, not so thick, then you can say that that's a hollow inside will be a spherical shell. How to determine the moment of inertia of such a spherical shell? So, if you know, we have done for ring part, disc part, and also similarly we need to do for this spherical shell part. So we need to just consider over here there is a spherical shell of mass m. Okay, it has a mass m, and there is some section we need to consider of that particular spherical shell. So here geometrically we will find A, B, C, D is a section of that spherical shell over here. So this particular diagram I'm talking about, I'll just use the pen. Here it is. So I'm talking about this AB. You can just AB. There it is. Sorry, there is some problem on writing here. Okay, just a minute. Where is highlighter? So, if I'm writing something, I can write it over here. You can find it that. But I don't want to write. I'll just use highlighter over here. Okay. So I can use just a minute. Yeah. So I'm talking about this particular shell, spherical section. This is the ABCD, where A and AB and CD, these are the two types of diameters of that spherical shell passing through the center over there. The area of the shell is spherical in nature, so the value you can calculate it is 4 pi r square. Capital R is the radius of that shell, and then you can write down the mass per unit area of the shell is m divided by 4 pi r square. So you got it, the things like that. We need to find out the mass per unit area, then multiply by that small portion, considering over here a small ring of that particular shell. So suppose I want to draw over here thin slice of the shell is having two planes, like EF over here is mentioned, EF and GH. These are the points you can see over on your screen, EF, GH. This is the slice of the shell, and which has a two planes, EF and GH. They are perpendicular to the diameter. So this EF and GH, this is a thin slice of shell we consider, and which has a distance of small x and width dx from the center O. So it is like a thin slice of shell. We have that x plus dx will be its radius. So this thin slice is obviously a ring of radius PE. PE, where is it PE? So and just draw over here the perpendicular. So EF and GH are the perpendicular to the diameter. So I say this is the slice is placed at a distance x plus dx. And if I want to draw the perpendicular from E to P, so PE gives me half of the diameter, that is the radius. And also you can ask me this particular section is not exactly the diameter of the shell. I'm talking about this is the radius of the shell. Okay, PE is the radius of the shell, and it has the width of that curve EG over there. Okay, so sorry, here I'm not pointing you exactly the point, but you can see that the portion I'm talking here, EF, EP is the point where we draw. That EP is the radius of this thin slice, and EG is the radius of that thin slice. So I'm just talking about this particular slice has just like a ring of radius PE and width EG it has, but which is not equal to PQ. PQ is just the perpendicular distances of the thin slice on the diameter AB. Okay. So whenever we are going to find out the area of such a rings, how can you find it? So you write down circumference into width. So since this is a slice of radius PE, so 2 pi into radius R becomes the circumference, and EG becomes its width. Okay, that's a 2 pi PEEG will be the area of that small portion or thin slice. We called it as a ring of radius PE. Therefore, its mass will be how much? Mass into mass per unit, area into mass per unit area. So area of this ring we calculated. Yes.
So can you please explain it once more?
Okay, so just like we consider here to determine the moment of inertia of certain spherical shell, which is a symmetrical body again. And here we are considering to find out the resultant moment of inertia for such a spherical shell about its diameter or any about its tangent. Here the first case we are studying to find out the moment of inertia about its diameter. So what we done in this case, we divided this shell or you say we consider a section of this shell as ABCD, where the AB and CD are the diameters of this shell which is passing through the center over there. But how this particular shell is made up of? We just consider here a small, we know the area of the shell, we know the mass of the complete shell, that's why we know the mass per unit area of the whole shell. But how we can determine the moment of inertia of the whole body about its diameter? So we consider a thin slice of the shell over here. So these are the two planes EF and GH we consider, which are perpendicular to the two planes, I mean to say two diameters AB and CD. And this EF, GH, that make a complete thin slice, and obviously that we need to keep at certain distance from the center. So if you make all those, slices to integrate all over the distances, so you will become a complete shell. So that's how to make a shell, spherical shell, with the help of the small slice. That slice we need to take a radius of a certain distance. Over here is a O. P is the what? This is the what we have drawn over here. PE is the radius of that, okay, of that slice, and which is at the distance x plus dx over there, because x is the distance at the point situated and dx is the thickness over there. So x plus dx will be the total distance of this slice from the center O. Now what to do? We need to find out, this is a small ring of radius PE. Okay, and that has a width EG over there. EG is the what? The width over there. It is not the PQ. Remember that. This is the arc on your small spherical shell. So that EG is the arc length. It is an arc. Okay, its value is EG over there. So geometrically, 2 pi PE means 2 pi R. That is 2 pi R is a circumference. That area is equal to circumference into width. So 2 pi PEEG, you are writing that is the area of that ring. That small portion, and say slice, and it has a mass per unit area is whole shell is m upon 4 pi square into area. That becomes a 2 pi PEEG, gives me the complete mass of that ring. What we done? So we just multiply that area of the ring with the help with the total mass per unit area of that particular shell. That gives me the mass content or the mass of that particular slice portion or a ring. Now the geometry is like that. We need to just find out what is this distance. So OE we need to draw over here, this distance OE, and we need to join OG over there. Okay, so OE and OG we are joining over there, and that OE and OG makes an angle theta at that's make an angle theta over there. That's angle COE. So like I just say COE will be the angle theta over there. So if I can draw over here, this angle is a theta over there. Okay. And this EOG is a EOG that makes a small angle, and that's I say small d theta is the angle over there, because that EG is a very small portion subtended on that particular shell, but which makes subtended an angle at the center is of value is d theta. So can we use the geometry over here? I mean to say, you can have to write down this PE value. So PE, that is a perpendicular, you can write down as OE, this OE, and cosine of that angle OPE, right? OEP, sorry, cosine of an angle OEP. Cosine of an angle OEP, yes, this cosine of an angle OEP multiplied by PE will gives me the multiply by the OE gives me the PE. So we need to find out what is the dimensions of PE over there, because this is the radius of that ring, and that we need to determine what is the value of PE and what's the value of EG. So this geometry we need to do over here is that the angle COE of an angle theta, and then EOG is, of an angle d theta, right? And PE will makes an angle cosine of COP, cosine of that, EOP, that is the cosine of OEP, cosine of OEP into OE. Okay, so cosine of OEP, that becomes theta, because you look at the adjacent angle COG is become COE becomes a theta, then OEP becomes a theta over there. Okay, so that's the angle over there. OEP is theta. That's what you can write down, cosine of theta over there, because these are the adjacent angle. Angle of OEP is equal to angle of COE. This is geometry, And OP is a what? Again, if I want to draw the perpendicular OP, that becomes a R sine of theta. Sine of theta. If I take a sine of theta, then it's just OP upon R, right? OP is the perpendicular distance, and R we mentioned over here. R is the radius of that, and it is nothing but a OE over there. Because OE, OG, which has the dimensions of the radius of that spherical shape. So OP it becomes R sine theta. Sorry. OP we consider over here the small portion. So OP is over here. I'm sorry. OP will be the distance x over there. So x OP का distance मैंने x put up किया. So x is equal to R sine theta. That's the distance you have. OP is R sine theta, and that becomes x is equal to R sine theta. OE is your R, OP is your x. So this geometry will tells you x is equal to R sine theta. You differentiate first order dx by d theta. That dx by d theta is R cos theta, and dx is equal to R cos theta d theta. Then we write down this R cos theta as PE. That value we get it from here. Look at this R cos theta we got as a PE over there. So please write down this geometrical relationship. We write down this R cos theta substituted with the PE only. So, and also we need to use the formula for the arc. Arc is equal to radius into angle. So how much you have a radius multiplied by that angle subtended by that arc, that you give a radius, because you need to determine over here the value of EG. Okay, that value of EG is nothing but arc. Arc which is you need to define over there the radius into the angle. So radius is R. Okay, and angle subtended by that arc is over there is what? D theta. Therefore, EG is equal to R d theta, right? So here I am writing all those things with the geometrical relationship. So EG is the angle, that's arc length you're writing in terms of the formula radius multiplied by the angle. So radius is you say R, OE, OG, but the angle subtended is a d theta over there, so it's a R d theta. So R d theta value आपकी EG हो गई. Okay, now you write down the formula for the mass of the ring. The mass of the ring you got it as 2 pi PE EG into M by relationships. So all those geometrical relationships give me the value of this particular OE and yes, PE and EG. PE and EG. So PE and EG we substituted over there, and you will get the value of and PE d theta you just write down as a dx over there. Again the geometry. So because 2 pi PE r theta m upon 4 pi r square. So PE d theta will be a dx. How this comes? PE d theta will become a dx because this is the this is like the angle subtended. This is you want to write down the PE PE distance. This is a PE which is the you write down over here as PE d theta is equal to dx. Why you are write down over here PE d theta is equal to dx? Because you just compare this r cos theta value, you got it from PE, which is r cos theta, and later on you got that r cos theta EG is equal to PE r d theta. That EG comes as a r d theta over there. So since this PE d theta will be the dx. How we are writing like this? Because this is like nothing but a arc into the angle subtended, which gives me dx over there, right? Are you still confused with this? Look at, we are just substituting this PE d theta with the dx only. Okay. How we return? Because dx is equal to PE d theta. Okay. Therefore, dx is equal to PE d theta. So PE d theta I just replace with the dx. So we just differentiate x with respect to theta, where dx I got as a PE d theta. Okay, and that's what we can substitute this PE d theta is equal to dx. This is by the relationship over here. So now you will have a simple mass of the ring, which is all calculations, means 2 pi, 4 pi, they cancelled 2 over there, and all the remaining quantity will be there as a m dx divided by twice r. So that is the quantity which is left behind that mass of the ring. And this mass of the ring we need because we need to just integrate this mass of the ring over the perpendicular distance like r radius. R is radius, actually its radius is, you can see geometrically its radius is a PE. So we need to make the square of this PE square, multiply this particular mass. We got it from the relation which comes out to be a m dx upon twice r. So m dx upon twice r multiplied by P whole square gives me the actual moment of inertia of the ring about its AB. Okay, that AB is the diameter over here, right? So AB is the diameter. We got means mi of moment of inertia of the ring about its diameter AB. We use the formula is like the perpendicular distance from its planes, and that particular plane is passing through the center. So we can use mr square as the definition of the moment of inertia over here, and that mass multiplied by the radius square gives me the value of this moment of inertia of this particular small ring or thin slice we consider over here. So geometrically we are writing this P square is equal to R square minus X square. Again, we look at over the geometry because this is a PE which is angle 90° with the OP over there, and OE distance I know this is the R radius of the shell, and I know the distance OP as X over there. So I can write down this P square by the Pythagoras theorem. P square is equal to R square minus X square. So OPE will be a square root of R square minus X square, you can write down. But we need only the radius square. So you can just take R square, that is PE square, as a R square minus X square. So whole moment of inertia of that particular ring we consider about its diameter AB will be a mdx upon twice r into r square minus x square. Therefore, the moment of inertia of the whole spherical shell about AB is what? Twice the integral of this quantity. Why we are taking twice the integral of this quantity? Look at this clean slice, we considering only half portion of this particular shell. So if we integrate all those quantity, does not get you the complete shell, only the half portions of the semi-spherical shell. Okay, and that's only the portion of AB only. If I want to cover the whole portion there, okay, I want to do again that for the twice of this whole quantity. Okay, then your integration limit will be within the limit 0 to r, but we may the whole spherical shell about its diameter. If I want to do that, okay, I want to take on that multiplication with the 2 over there. So twice into integration from 0 to r m upon 2r r square minus x square dx. If you integrate that within the limit 0 to r and just solve this, you will get the value of moment of inertia of the spherical shell. So again, I'm to summarize what we have done in this particular 20-minute discussion is like that. The spherical shell, here we want to determine the moment of inertia of the spherical shell. How we do that? By considering a small spherical, portion, we cut it into a plane. Okay, and these are the planes which cuts the those perpendicular axes diameter, you say AB and CD, passing through the center of that particular shape. So when we are finding the moment of inertia about its diameter, we need to first find out what the moment of inertia of such a small spherical area, or you say ring, or a slice of certain radius, and that radius which will be always be the perpendicular distance. Okay, that's which cuts the this particular shell over there, and which integrate means to complete the whole spherical shell. And that's what we have done over there by considering mass per unit area and doing all such a geometrical relationship. We can come to the answer. Okay, that is a 2 by 3 mr square. This is the way you can do. There are the other methods also, but I'm not going into that that way. you can use the formula of the perpendicular axis theorem and directly write down the moment of inertia. But there is not a correct way that you requires a logic of perpendicular axis of the three-dimensional body and so on. But this is the way we can correctly done, the moment of inertia for the particular shell. Okay, spherical shell. So spherical shell is a spherical body has having certain shell on it, but which is a very, 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 very thin area on that. We cannot, it's negligible on thickness. Okay, and then it's a shell on that. Okay, about the tangent. Now we need to determine the moment of inertia about its tangent. So if you want to draw the tangent to any shell, okay, it is like you want to draw this particular tangent over here or like that. Okay, so that tangent, if you want to draw, that's we need to consider this particular tangent. If I want to draw, okay, so like this way. So it is like we need to consider the moment of inertia of the whole body and what distance does that body. I mean to say what the particular tangent you drawn at which point. So the moment of inertia of a tangent, if you want to find out, you just add over there the mr square, because in the moment of inertia about its diameter. Why mr square? Because this is the tangent wherever you are drawing to this spherical shell, okay, which should comes to the parallel to the its diameter. Okay, so whenever you are drawing about its tangent is a perpendicular distance, but it is parallel to your diameter. So parallel axis theorem we need to use over here to determine the moment of inertia, total moment of inertia about its tangent, which comes out to be the moment of inertia about its diameter plus m into r square. So mr square we need to add on the moment of inertia of the diameter, just we calculated over here 2 by 3 mr square, and that value comes out to be a 5 by 3 mr square. Okay, now you can ask me, you can use a similar logic. Can we determine for finding the moment of inertia of the whole solid sphere? That is the case which remains for our discussion today, and then whole topic will be a finish. Okay, so this is the figure we need to consider again. Again, we need to determine the moment of inertia of this solid sphere. Okay, it's like a metallic ball which is completely homogeneously uniformly made with the certain material, but it's a complete homogeneous body filled inside. So that's the we need to consider over here the section of that particular solid sphere, and it has a mass capital M and radius is r over there. So can we write down its volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube, its mass per unit volume, mass per unit volume as mass divided by 4 by 3 pi r cube. So thrice m divided by 4 pi r cube will be its mass per unit volume. And again, we need to consider over here the thin circular slice of radius certain radius, but which is a place at a distance x over there. Okay, and has a thickness dx over there. So again, we need to consider slice. Obviously, it is like a disc, and all those discs we need to integrate over the whole portion to give me the complete geometrical shape. Solid sphere we need over here. So how we do that? So look at here the x. We need to consider a thin slice which is at a distance x over there, and thickness dx, and it has a radius of OP. It is mentioned over here the point which has a radius r over there. Okay, so OAP, yeah, this distance, this point we are mentioned is OP, which has a radius r and held at a distance x, and the thin slice which makes subtend angle theta with the OB. So you can geometrically you can write down square root of r square minus x square will be the what, the perpendicular or you say thin slice of radius square root of r square minus x square, because this is the angle theta, and you can do the Pythagoras over here. So square root of r square minus r square which gives me the value of the radius over there, and which has a thickness dx. Again, we need to use the surface area of the disc, that is a pi r square. We need to do that. So pi square root of r square minus r square, because radius is the square root of r square minus x square. So then you square it, it becomes a pi r square minus x square. Okay, and the volume becomes a area into a thickness. So how can you write down the volume? You just multiply by the area with the thickness, you will get the volume of it. So right, so volume will be pi r square minus x square into a dx. Okay, right? How we written like that? Because surface area into a thickness, that gives me the whole volume. Why we need that volume? Because we just consider this area, we consider the mass and we consider the volume of the sphere. So mass per unit volume we need, we know that formula. If we calculate the volume of the small spherical, slice or thin circular slice that you say over here, and it has certain volume, you just multiply by the whole volume of the body, you will get the, the volume of that thin circular slice, or you are getting my point. So this is the way you can calculate the mass content of slice. So you just do the calculations over here to get that as a thrice m r square minus x square divided by 4r cube into dx will be the this is the mass content of that particular slice, thin circular slice you say. Now why we need that? We need that because we need to find out the moment of inertia of the whole spherical body. We consider this is a slice which is like a disc which has certain thickness, placed at a certain disc which has certain radius. If it is makes a whole integration, we can find out the moment of inertia. But we require the logic of this moment of inertia of the disc. Okay, that we already studied. And that moment of inertia of that disc about its diameter is like passing through the center will be the mass into a what? Radius square divided by 2. It's a half of mr square over there. Okay, mass into a radius square multiplied by the half of mr square. So moment of inertia of a disc when you are writing, okay, this is a thin slice, I say thin slice of certain thickness, okay, that has value half of mr square. Now you can ask me why sir is half of mr square? Because this is not like a ring over there, like in a thin spherical shell. It is like a complete homogeneous body. We know that what's the moment of inertia of a disc about its diameter. Okay, when that diameter is passing through the center and perpendicular to its plane, that value is half of mr square, half of mass into radius square. So which radius I am talking about? The radius of that particular disc of AB over there. Okay, mass of the moment of inertia of the disc where we are writing, that has a radius square, that has a radius square root of r square minus x square. So its square becomes r square minus x square. Okay, and divided by 2 and multiply by the whole mass. That mass content you already calculated, thrice m r square minus x square divided by 4r cube dx. You can calculate the moment of inertia of the disc about the diameter. Now you can ask me again why this moment of inertia of the whole body about sphere is multiplied by 2 over there. The since we are considering the thin slice only on the one portion, okay, but the remaining portion on the other side that covers only the semi spherical region of that particular body. We have to complete the whole portion, whole spherical region of that particular spherical body. We need to multiply by the 2 over there with the limits of integration from 0 to r and differentiate when within the limit 0 to r and differentiating integrating with respect to x over there. Sorry. So you just do that, this integration, solve this integration. The x is a variable I'm talking, okay, because that is the only the changing thing over there. The remaining things are the constant which come out of the integration. You solve the integration within the limit 0 to r and you will get the answer. You will simplify the answer with the put the limits and solving. The upper limit is r, lower limit is 0, and you can get the answer that the moment of inertia of the whole spherical body, that is a complete homogeneous spherical body, okay, and that comes out to be 2 pi 5 mr square. There are the other alternative methods are there, but I'm not going into that details. Only one method is sufficient to do. those calculations. There are the other method by considering the moment of inertia of the shell and certain thickness, then considering this whole body as made up of small particles, the density concept and that thing. But you can do that. I can send you all those lecture PPT and its content from where I'm taking all the material. I will send to you. Don't worry about that. Whichever way you will find, that will you can solve and you can get the answer. Okay. So I'll just keep that portion because only 10 minutes to be there. So I'll just take a tangent about the tangent. What is the moment of inertia about the tangent? So again, here I want to draw any tangent. That tangent should be of radius that is parallel to parallel to its diameter, parallel to diameter, which is like over here. And we can use the theorem of parallel axis. Okay, so moment of inertia about its diameter plus mr square, because this is the distance where that tangent is situated. So mass of the body multiplied by the distance square, that is the mr square, to be added in a moment of inertia of the that particular sphere about its diameter will gives me the 7/5 mr square. Okay. So we directly use those formulas for calculation part, and some kind of assignments I will give it to you. You can solve those assignment on those bodies. And I just probably you have in your syllabus, there is a certain spherical shell which has certain thickness, means like the spherical shell, spherical is hollow in nature, but it has a thick shell on that. Okay, that can be a body you have, holosphere, or you say spherical shell with a high thickness. Okay, thick shell you can call it as. So inside the hollow kind of a sphere, it's just a solid sphere from the inside. But this has solid things is removed from the inside, and only you have a thick shell outside. Okay, so you just consider over here there are the two radii, just like you have you consider the cylinder or a disc which has certain thickness dx, like that. Okay, we need to consider over here the sphere which has outer radius as a capital R and small radius is a small r over there. So just like we need to consider over the two spheres of radius capital R and small r. One is we called as the external radius R, and that is a capital R, and another we called as a small radius small r over there. Okay, small r, internal radii you say of that holosphere. And we consider this is homogeneous because that's the material coating you say which is homogeneous of small r, and the outer radius is capital R, but the material density is remains to be the same. The density of the material is rho, we can consider over here. So if you are writing down the volume, you can just down the density is a mass per unit volume. Okay, and you write down the volume is nothing but a what? You just multiply. You want to write down the volume, spherical volume as a 4/3 pi r cube. You just want to write down the mass, you just multiply by the density with the volume. 4/3 pi r cube becomes density times times the volume becomes its a mass. So here I am writing all those equations, that 4/3 pi r cube and 4/3 pi r cube rho. These are the volumes of the bigger sphere and the smaller spheres respectively. So volume of the hollow sphere, if you want the hollow portion, you want to find it out, you just do the the outer one minus the inner one, that you can do it. So volume of the hollow sphere you can find it out as a 4/3 r cube minus r cube, and its mass becomes a 4/3 pi r cube minus small r cube into rho. Okay, and you just know what is the moment of inertia of the bigger sphere about its diameter. You just calculate it right now. It's 2/5 when it is a bigger sphere, because this is the sphere which is the solid. Okay, of that thickness of radius r. You just multiply that volume with its mass. That gives 2/5 mr square will give you the value of the moment of inertia of the bigger sphere. Similarly, you can just do the 2/5 mr square. Okay, that's the volume. That's the mi of the small sphere. You can just do the mi of the hollow part. What we do, we just subtracted the hollow. I mean, this is inner mi, that is inner, I mean to say mi of the small sphere, mi of the bigger sphere minus the mi of the small sphere. Okay, subtracted the smaller portion from the bigger portion. So getting the point. So here the mathematical things will be calculate to get the moment of mass of the hollow sphere that you already written, and you can get to know the value of substituting. Just do the substitution of mass in terms of density. You know, mass of the hollow sphere, mass into the hollow portion, that volume as a hollow portion 4 by 3 pi r cube into density. You can write down that density by considering that mass you have. You already know this mass comes out to be a thrice 4 by 3 pi r cube, that you just substitute rho times rho becomes a thrice m 4 divided by 4 r cube minus r cube. That value you need to put it over here and solve the this particular solution, substituting the value of rho over there in a 2 by 5. So instead of writing 2 by 5 mr square, and you write in terms of the density. So how can you write down that in terms of density? You just multiply by the volume of that sphere with the density. The hollow portion volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube minus small r cube, multiply by its density. So you just substituted density with the whole quantity, you will get the answer in terms of mass. So that's the calculation being done over there. Okay. So I'm not going into the alternative methods, but I will send you this portion, okay, for your explanation, okay, to getting the point. So today we have discussed the three things. That is, I say spherical shell. One we say solid sphere. The other we say thick spherical shell. Okay. So whenever such a bodies you have, spherical shell, or hollow sphere, you have to be in mind what you mean by the spherical shell. Okay, the sphere, that is what we have considered, which has a very small thickness. Okay, so whatever be the thickness, I mean to say radius, it has that occupied that particular sphere. Okay, and that's whenever there is a spherical shell is written to be there, so it doesn't have a thickness. All you say thickness is a very negligible. Okay, it's simply a shell on that, but it is spherically. Okay, the geometry is spherical in nature. But when you are talking about certain thickness, like there is certain covering and which has the magnitude of thickness, then we can say that thick spherical shell. Okay, and whenever you have a thick spherical shell, okay, we need to consider its value. Okay, and then the hollow portion inside there. So it's like a hollow sphere you have. Okay. So whenever you say that there is somebody with a thick spherical shell, it's like a hollow sphere. When there is a shell, okay, spherical shell, it's a hollow, but its thickness is negligible. When you say a complete sphere, only a sphere, so just like we consider a solid sphere, that is what the mass is distributed throughout its volume. Okay, that we need to consider. So all those things, keep it in your mind, and you can solve to find out the moment of inertia of such a geometrical bodies. Okay, so already I have given the formula in the last lecture, but today we have derived that formulas in the lecture. Okay, but there may be a possibility asking directly the not derivation part, but we can solve some problems on such a geometrical bodies. Might be a spherical shell, which is hollow inside. Hollow sphere, you say, when you say hollow sphere, it is a thick shell. When you say solid sphere, it is completely a homogeneous. But the formulas of the moment of inertia that you derived are different. Okay, remember that. So these are the formulas we need to derive and we need to remember sometimes for solving some problems. Okay, so make a list what we have done. Already flywheel and axle things we have done it. So today I'll stop here. Do you have some questions we can quickly take? Yeah, is any question, please let me know.
Hello, sir.
Mm-hmm.